Welcome to Fantasy in Black and White. Obviously, if you've been paying attention, the biggest news of the day and probably of the week is that Trent Richardson had been traded to the Colts for a first-round draft pick. So, Mr. Venom, what do you have to say about that?
Wow. Why? The Browns are apparently trying to kick me off the train that I was on. So, just wow. Their best offensive weapon, wow. But we'll see. I see they're trying to pick up or they're gonna put in McGahee, apparently, like that's gonna do anything for him, but whatever.
Well, I thought I found this picture and I thought you might like it. You know, it kind of gets to the point of the Browns and kind of how they've been running their organization. You know, and see how Whedon's that last guy on the list? You could actually add Hoyer on there, and I guess now you'll have your updated Browns list there. So
yeah. So I was on the Browns train, but like I said, they're trying to kick me off of it. So.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I think as far as the Colts, it's a big deal because I think that elevates Trent Richardson's value quite a bit. I think it because now he's in an offense where you have an elite passer and elite wide receivers, and you know everything's going to be more open for him. He's not going to be facing so many like 8-man fronts as he was with Cleveland because obviously Brandon Whedon was not getting the job done. So
I think it's a huge deal for the Colts. I think that's the only thing the Colts were missing was a running game, and they just got one.
Well, on offense, that was the only thing they're missing.
Yeah.
They're still missing the whole defense. I mean, the whole defense is missing.
Yeah, but offensively they were just missing a running game, and now they got one. So.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because now they have a couple of good young wide receivers. They still got Reggie Wayne. They have good young tight ends, even though I think one of their tight ends went down, Dwayne Allen. I think he went down for the season. So, but now they have a young running back. They're going to be good for quite a ways to come. So let's go ahead and get started into the first segment, which is our fantasy picks. And the first game. Oh, before we get into that, I went 3-2 last week, so it was an okay week. And Bill, how did you do?
I went 4-1. So
wow.
But not only did I go 4-1, but the one I lost was the one that I was hoping I would lose, and that was the me versus Game Time match. And I picked Game Time, and I lost that match. So I'm happy about that. So I'm okay with being 4-1 last week.
Yeah. You know what? It was weird. We saw a lot of comebacks, like not comebacks in the sense of like coming from behind, but like teams that scored really low, they seem to score a lot higher, and then teams that scored really high seem to score a lot lower. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of hard to gauge really where these teams are at. And to Bull-bound Broncos, man, that's got to be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I give you full permission to be pissed off, say whatever the heck you want to say, because when you put up 124 points in fantasy football and you lose, yeah, you got every reason to be upset.
This is true.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, so on for our fantasy picks of the week. Our first matchup is Game Time versus the Gauchos. And in this game, I picked the Gauchos to win. And I just thought that, Aaron Rodgers, and I know the lineup's not kind of up to date as to what she has going in, but I just think that with game time, my problem is that he has Cam Newton, LaShawn McCoy, Brandon Marshall, Wes Welker, and then that's it. And his defense, which is usually good, is playing against the Saints. So that's kind of like one of those ones where I don't think his defense will be that good this week. And so in this one, I just thought there was too many holes in his lineup. So I went ahead and went with the Gauchos in this one.
I agree. I also picked her. If Eddie Lacy doesn't start, obviously he won't be starting Eddie Lacy. He'll be starting, I'm assuming, James Starks, which he went and picked up. The only thing I wrote about in this game was her team isn't great, but his team has problems. So he's got a lot of problems this week. I just don't see it happening. I will say she did go pick up Martellus Bennett, which was a positive thing for her. I don't know whether she'll start him or not. And her lineup did change a little bit from what it showed on there. I know she pulled Danny Amendola out. That's so.
And my thing is, I think she put up 98 points last week. Was it something like that?
Yeah, something like that. And
so I'm like, you were able to put up 98. You left Danny Amendola in. You kind of had some mistakes in who you had starting. So I'm like, even with having some mishaps, you still were able to put up 98, which is close to that magic number of 100. So I think this week get some of those lineup fixes in place, and she'll be able to take that win.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing also I'm just going to say, and I don't suggest making this change, although I could see somebody making this change, but you're not going to sit Aaron Rodgers. I understand that, and you probably shouldn't because it's Aaron Rodgers. But she does have Russell Wilson on her bench. And, yeah, I think Russell Wilson is an incredibly good start this week. But,
well, I only differ on that one only from the standpoint of that I'm not sure how much he's going to have to do in that game. I think he has an easy matchup, and he may throw 3 touchdowns, but it could just easily be 3 touchdowns to Marshawn Lynch. Or maybe he throws 3 touchdowns, the defense gets a touchdown, and Marshawn Lynch gets 2. Who knows? Yeah. They're going to score a lot. I think they'll score around 6, 7 touchdowns. I think they're going to score a lot. But they're going to put up a 40, close to a 50 burger on them, and it's going to be bad.
Yep.
There will be blood.
Yeah.
All right, so our next matchup is the Avengers versus Steel Curtain, and in this one I picked Steel Curtain, and a lot of this has to do with because the Avengers is all in on the Patriots, and the Patriots aren't playing well right now. I think that there is where his team falls apart. The other thing, too, is you have Tom Brady, who is going up against an excellent Bucs defense, who has shown that they are actually really legitimate. Stephen Ridley, we don't know what's going on with him. You got Julian Edelman, who's continued to be forced the ball, which is not working out that well. Then you have Steven Jackson, who is out. So then you got some problems in the run game there. The Broncos defense versus the Raiders, I think, is a good matchup. But then on the other side, I just think that his matchups are good, and then Trent Richardson versus I don't know, whoever. Oh, the Colts are playing the 49ers. I think that actually might be a pretty good matchup because I think that the 49ers are going to focus on the passing, and then Colin Kaepernick I think is going to get loose against the Colts. So I am in this one definitely going to pick Steel Curtain to win this one. I think the Avengers just can't overcome the fact that their quarterback is not going to do well. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Steel Curtain. Like you said, you pretty much said everything. It's bad times for the Patriots right now. And on top of that, I doubt it'll happen, but there is a chance that Gronkowski could be a game time start this week. Not that it's going to be, but there's that possibility. And if it does happen, that kind of changes. It's going to chew into the Julian Edelman start, and so. But yeah, I'm going with Steel Curtain this week.
Our next matchup is first name greatest versus the Knights. And in this one, I picked first name greatest to win. The main thing is I think Marshawn Lynch is going to do well, and I think Matt Forte will do pretty well. Julio Jones is going to – I think he'll do pretty well. Reggie Wayne may struggle some. Brandon Pettigrew kind of just stinks altogether. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is marginal at best. The Bengals defense versus Green Bay I don't think is a very good matchup. And I think the main thing, though, here is the Matt Stafford versus Calvin Johnson and the Reggie Bush / Joik Bell. So I think that most of the yards go to those two players for Matthew Stafford. So I think that that's going to really balance and kind of negate Matthew Stafford as a passer, because in reality, he rarely passes to anyone else as far as the yards. And maybe on some of the touchdowns he goes to other people, but for the most part, it's going to either the running back or Calvin Johnson. So I think with that being said, every time he's going to score as a quarterback, most of the time I'm going to score. So I think that's going to really balance this game out so I can win.
Yeah, I agree. I picked you to win. I'm about to talk bad about my team, the Washington Redskins. They have allowed, I think it's 53 points in the first two games scored against them in the first half of football.
I was about to say, let's talk about that. It's 53 points first half.
First half, not total, first half. Okay, and then their offense has scored, I think, 0 in the first half, I believe. So, anyways.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah. So it's all bad right now for the Skins. Yeah, defensively, just things aren't clicking. And with you having Calvin Johnson and Reggie Bush, and if Reggie Bush doesn't play Joik Bell, I mean, Joik Bell proved that 1 week that he did take some carries, that he is a solid backup for Reggie Bush if something happens. So no matter what, I think you're going to start whichever one starts and plays, and I think that's going to be all good for you. I see one huge shining light for the Knights, and that's just Marshawn Lynch. But I think, I mean, obviously Stafford's a shining light for him too, but like you said, you're going to be stealing points away from him. So, you know, you're basically, every time he throws a touch or throws a pass to Calvin Johnson, you're getting double the points he's getting. So, you know, I don't see how he can overcome that against you this week. So.
Our next matchup is Venom versus SOS, and in this matchup, I picked Venom to win. I just, I mean, the State of Shock just doesn't have enough to me. You got Antonio Brown, who's You got Demaryius Thomas, who have a good game, but Ray Rice, even if he plays, I don't think he plays well. You got Chris Johnson, who will play an okay game. He's been okay. Darren Sproles, who, again, okay. Seattle's defense will be big for him, but I think that with you having Anquan Bolden, Des Bryant, and probably Dwayne Bowe playing, and then, of course, you got Julius Thomas. That's going to be big again. Wow. And then you got Adrian Peterson. And then, you know what the thing is that I did like the most about your team last week is RG3 is RG3. He's been coming through in the second half of the games, but the thing that I really liked was that Lamar Miller came through with about 12 points last week, you know what I mean? 60-some-odd yards and a touchdown. So I'm like, maybe it's a slow progress, and he'll start getting more and more of the carries as his talent shows that he's better than everyone else there. So I picked Venom to win this game.
Yeah, I picked my team as well. Hopefully it doesn't shoot me in the foot by picking myself. But yeah, I did the same thing. Like I said, he has Demaryius Thomas, but I have Julius Thomas. So I mean, I think those two things could even themselves out, even though Demaryius Thomas probably gets a few more points. And then I did pull out Andre Johnson. I did plug Dwayne Bowe in, and I think that's going to be big. Andy Reid in his return to Philly. I'll talk about that a little more later. and then Adrian Peterson's got a good matchup. I actually think Lamar Miller versus Atlanta is actually a decent matchup this week too. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm rolling with me. So.
Right, and then on for our last matchup is starters in the game versus bowl-bound Broncos. I gave him the best draft. I picked him last week. I picked him the week before that. So I'm sure you know what I'm going to say right now. It's starters in the game, man. I mean, look at his team. Darren McFadden's playing decently for him. He's got A.J. Green. Vincent Jackson, that's going to be an okay start. But Jamal Charles is going up against a weak defense. Peyton Manning's going up against a weak defense. Jared Cook should get back on the ball. He was able to get Jordy Nelson playing well. And I just think that you just have too many up and down inconsistent players on the bowl-bound Broncos. You know what I mean? DeAndre Hopkins had a good game, but the week before that he had trash. Frank Gore's kind of been up and down. So you just have too many up and down players, you know what I mean? And then, too, with Andrew Luck, I'm not sure how good he's going to do against the 49ers defense. You know what I mean? That's kind of he'll be all right. You know what I mean? So I went ahead and I picked starters in the game.
All right, so real quick, this is my wild card pick. I am going to pick the bowl-bound Broncos. Not that I disagree with you. It's hard to pick against it's hard to pick against starters in the game because he just has, he just puts points up. I mean, it's plain and simple. But I will correct you on one thing. Peyton Manning is not going up against an easy defense. Let's say that real quick. Do I think he's going to tear up the Oakland Raiders? Yes, I do. I do. But calling the Oakland Raiders right now a weak defense, which lead the league in sacks, I think is kind of, wrong. But, and I will get to this a little bit later in my bold predictions, but I do think that the bowl-bound Broncos have put up 124 points last week, could do it again this week, and could win. Call it a
oh man, I don't know, because all right, look, the Colts struggled against the Raiders, right? We're talking about the Raiders defense had the Colts struggling. So now we have the 49ers defense. What's the Colts gonna do? They're gonna be struggling.
Yeah, no, I agree.
By Hilton too. I'm like,
I agree that it's gonna be hard for Andrew Luck. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is my wild card pick. I got a feeling. And real quick, I want to show you something real quick. Just because we'll feature these next week, but I just want to give a little taste because I think it's quite frankly awesome. You got that up there?
hey, starter in the game.
That's right. Starter in the game. So, yeah, that's my pick. I'm going with bowl-bound Broncos. It's the only pick we differ on. So, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, that actually wraps up our picks for fantasy. So, overall in fantasy, I am 8-2. The picks I got from Game Time last week, he was 3-2. I think you overall are 7-3. Is that correct?
Overall, I am 7-3. I gained one game on you last week. I went 4-1. So yeah, I am 7-3.
Well, we shall see. We got one game difference. Someone's gonna lose one. Someone's gonna gain one.
All right. So our next little piece is hot and not. It's when we tell you who we think you should start, or who we think is going to be hot that week, and who we think you should bench. And for me, quarterbacks, I got 3 of them this week, and 2 of them are in the same game. So Alex Smith, Michael Vick, that's gonna be a game. So just Andy Reid's return. I think Alex Smith is gonna do good things against the weaker Philadelphia defense. And then again, and on the flip side of that, Michael Vick has shown us that so far that he can do it. He can put up points. So I think those two.
I just want to interject into that and say, finally, you've given us a Thursday night football game that is worth watching. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. This is the first one, it'll be a fun one too. And my last one is an obvious one: Russell Wilson. So I mean, come on, it's going to be a big game. Running backs: Jamal Charles. Once again, I'm going to that Kansas City Philly game. Wide receiver: Dwayne Bowe. Same thing. You know, he's going to be the primary receiver there for Alex Smith, and I think he'll put up some points. And then my tight end, I'm going to roll with Martellus Bennett. He has been on a hot streak lately. I don't care if you like Jay Cutler or not, but Martellus Bennett's been good. You know, through the first 2 weeks, he's been good. I think he's got, I want to say 29, 20, something like that points right now over the first 2 weeks, right around there.
He's doing well. He's doing quite well. He was putting an offensive show on last week.
Yeah, so I just think he's going to be a good play this week against the Steelers, which has shown us this year that they just plan on being inept.
Hey, the Steelers are the new Cleveland Browns. I don't know who that makes the Cleveland Browns. But the Steelers are the new Cleveland Browns. That's terrible.
Yeah, and for defense, I picked the Vikings D, which is playing against the Browns this week. And I just want to share something real quick that you told me today on the phone that I thought was hilarious. And it just kind of makes some sense if you think about it. That there are some teams, no matter how good you think they are and how much they've improved, they're just destined to lose, like Charlie.
This time I'm gonna kick that football clear to the moon!
Well, I mean, you look at these, no matter what they do, it never works. You know what I mean? You seen that list of quarterbacks for the Browns? It's just like over and over. It's just failure. And I don't know how you get out of that. I don't know. Some teams are they're like in a 30-year funk, man.
Yeah. So apparently, according to Pelton, the Cleveland Browns are the Charlie Brown of football.
They can't help but lose. Boring losers. You know what? The thing is, Bill tried to tell me about Cleveland and all this stuff, and I had to pull over. I was driving, so I had to pull over on the side of the road to think about this because it was like, the Cleveland Browns are going to be good. Norv Turner. I'm not buying it. Are we talking about the dog pound? The Cleveland Browns? The ones from Cleveland? Where LeBron left? Is those are the ones we're talking about? Because I don't know how they're going to get out of this hole that they're in. So we'll see. They traded Trent Richardson for one draft pick, and I just thought that was a waste. I'm like, you could have got a first and a third for him? You know what I mean? Like, at a minimum for a legitimate starting running back. I'm done with you, Cleveland. Maybe by the end of the season we'll give Bill a Browns jersey.
Like I said, the Browns are kicking me off the train. Okay? Even though they're in an 0-2 hole right now, I think they could have dug themselves out of this hole. But they are quickly, rapidly doing things to make me sound crazy. So.
Man, Cleveland rocks. Woo. So it's my turn, right? For the hots?
Yeah.
All right, so for my hots, I put that the Lions offense versus the Skins, and more specifically, I think if Reggie Bush plays, I think he'll have a decent game, but I think more it's going to be Joyke Bell and Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson are going to put up numbers. I also think that RG3 will do well, Pierre Garçon will do well, and I'm questionable about Alfred Morris. I just think that because of the fact that he's just a pure runner, he's not really a pass catcher at all, I think that Detroit's defense is going to hold him to below 100 yards. But that's just where I see it. I just think that the other players on the team, and there'll be another random Redskins wide receiver, Leonard Hankerson, or that really short guy who runs fast for their team, whoever that guy is, or somebody else will have a good game, Santana Moss or somebody, who knows, whatever, some guy that no one's starting, you know what I mean? You know, one of those guys. I'm on board with this Alex Smith and then versus the Eagles, and I put the whole Kansas City offense. I will say this: I'm a little bit suspect of the Eagles' offense in this game, only because I think Kansas City's defense is that legit. I think the defense has been legit for a few years, but because the offense has been so terrible, you couldn't really see how good this defense is. So I think this defense is really going to get put to a test this week. So we'll see how that works out. But Kansas City's offense, Dwayne Bowe, Alex Smith, and what's the other boy's name? Jamal Charles. I think they're all going to do work. And then I think the 49ers get back on a roll. So you start Cap, you start Bolden, you start Gore. If Davis is playing, and not playing like he gimpy playing, but if he's playing like he legitimately practiced and he can roll, then you put him in or you put in his backup. I think this whole offense will have a good game. The 49ers will roll big time over the Colts. And those are my hots for this week.
Right on. All right. Now, knots. Who we think are duds this week, or not necessarily duds, but just people that we think that there could be better options for. And that's kind of self-explanatory for this first pick of mine, quarterback Tom Brady.
Okay, hey, before you go any further, I just want to, like, we were playing blackjack, I'd be like, double down, boom, double down right now on the knot for Tom Brady.
All right, so Tom Brady, I just think that Tony Romo's a better start this week. I think that Phillip Rivers is a better start this week. I think Russell Wilson is a better start this week. I think there's an abundance of quarterbacks that are better starts this week than Tom Brady. So I'm a roll with Tom Brady as a knot this week. Ray Rice. Got him on my knots this week. Ray Rice hasn't come out of the gates very good this year. I mean, and I kept Ray Rice for 2 years straight, and he was Mr. Consistent. But this year it's just not happening in the beginning of the season, so we'll see what happens. Wide receivers, I have Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz. I just don't think that they're going to have a good week this week. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, I don't see it. Tight ends, I got Pelton's boy, Jermichael Finley. So I'm assuming Pelton is starting Cameron this week. But I got Jermichael.
Hold on.
Defense.
What team does Jordan Cameron play for?
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, he ain't starting.
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, in one day you done lost your starting quarterback and starting running back. In one day. Hey, we ain't even played the game. It's practice.
All right. Well, we'll see. But I just don't like Jermichael Finley against Cincinnati's defense, so I got him on my knots. And my defense is the Steelers. They're playing Chicago, and the Steelers, it's all downhill for this year for you. All downhill. So it's going to be a race to see who gets last place in that division now between the Browns and the Steelers. Even though I did say the Browns were in my NFL picks, I did put the Browns as second in the division. So, but like I said, they kicked me off the train. So.
Hey, I like how you said it's all downhill, but not in a good way. Oh man, look, we didn't come out to bag on the Browns. I just want to put that out there. I don't know, it just keeps coming up. It's a recurring thing, like Beanie Wells. It just keeps coming up. I don't know why. obviously you already mentioned Tom Brady, so I'm not even going to go any further than that. Look, bottom line is, if you have Tom Brady, don't start him. I'm just saying, whatever. There's got to be, you have to have a better option on your bench. If you don't, then I don't know how you drafted, but you have to have a better option on your bench.
Real quick, let me interject. I think, if I'm not 100% positive, but I think that team in our league, I believe, has Alex Smith. Isn't that who the Avengers have on their bench? Is Alex Smith? So,
yeah, I think so, actually.
It may sound crazy to start Alex Smith over Tom Brady to some people, but I think it's a legitimate change.
I'm gonna second that. And if you want to be a fantasy winner, you'll do this. We're not saying to change your lineup. Stephen Ridley, I threw him on here because one, I'm assuming there's still these trust issues. I don't really understand it. I'm like, I know you don't want turnovers, you know what I mean? But you didn't bench Tom Brady for throwing bad passes and throwing interceptions and turning over the ball. You don't have a better option. Really, that's what it comes down to. You got LeGarrette Blount. All right. And he wasn't doing jack in that game. So I don't understand why they're not starting Stephen Ridley, but for whatever reason, they still don't trust him. And obviously, the Patriots' offense, number one, is out of sync. And I think Gronkowski comes back week 4 in full effect, and the offense gets into sync. And then, as Bill's been preaching to me over these last few weeks, one of these wide receivers who's on this team will show himself to be the number one and stand out. So it's going to be Gronkowski, and then Stephen Ridley will get back on the boat. Tom Brady will be doing his thing, and then one of these wide receivers will be the standout. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I'll go out on a limb and say it's not going to be Julian Edelman. Roddy White is also on my knots, but he's just riding that knot train. Until Roddy White gets healthy, don't start him. Just put him on your bench. Figure something else out. Take a risk on somebody else. I don't know what to tell you, but don't start him. That's pretty much who I rolled with this week as far as my knots. I didn't have too many, but there's other people that you could roll, that you could say are knots, but I just went with these 3. Kept it nice and simple.
Right. I can pretty much agree with most of those. Like I said, we're both on the not for Tom Brady this week, and I think it's legitimate. So, and like you said, I think that offense literally hinges on Gronkowski coming back. So I think that'll free up a lot of problems on that offense. I think once he comes back, people are going to have to key on him. That's going to open up other people. I think there's a wide receiver on that team who knows who it's going to be. I do agree. I do not think it's going to be Julian Edelman. That all of a sudden step up as the man. And then I think the team will loosen up a lot more and be a lot better, but that's not this week. So,
and the thing is, it's weird about their offense right now is I've never seen this, or maybe I just didn't notice it, or whatever. Maybe because it was working before, but you could just see Tom Brady was just forcing the ball to Danny Amendola.
But next is our NFL picks last week, just to recap. And I think I said this, too, in last week's show, but I went 5-0 last week. So, I am now 8-1 on my NFL picks. Just throwing that out there. Doing pretty dang good in my opinion.
And I'm 6-3, so.
Oh, yeah, no, you're still doing what? What is that, like, I don't know, 70% or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around 70. We're good.
So, all right. First game is our Thursday night game. Chiefs versus Philly. We've already talked about this a little bit in bowl predictions. I think Andy Reid will beat his old team in his return to that stadium. I think Alex Smith throws 3 touchdowns.
Well, I picked the Eagles in this game. I think the home team will prevail, and I know I have a little bit of questions about the offense being able to sustain, but I think over the long haul, the big plays of this Eagles offense, I don't think Kansas City is going to be able to hold them off. So I'm going to pick that the Eagles will win this game. I mean, they almost had that game last week. I mean, that was really close. So I think they're going to win.
Okay. Next game, Sunday night, Bears Steelers.
This should be obvious.
Yeah, extremely obvious, and I just put under my notes that the Steelers suck this year. The curtain, so to speak, has fallen in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so obviously I picked the Bears too. So yeah, that should be obvious.
All right, next pick, Raiders Broncos. And for this one, same thing. This is extremely obvious. Even though I think the Raiders are doing a little something over there, there's no way they beat the Broncos. There's no way. There's no way. So my notes for this one was, why would you not pick the Broncos? Why would you not? So.
All right, look. This is what I'm gonna say. The last time that you were like, there's no way. Texans almost found a way to lose. Man, that was like, woo! Can't believe y'all fools won. So I think maybe the Raiders can keep it competitive. Obviously, last week the Giants were able to keep the game competitive at least in the first half. So maybe there's some sort of blueprint or some sort of tape on how to slow down this Broncos offense. Because obviously they were able to do it for 2 quarters. That third quarter kind of broke it wide open. But they had a special teams touchdown in there, and then, of course, Eli started being Eli. You know how he rolls. So, obviously the pick is the Broncos.
Yeah, look, I was listening to an interview on the radio the other day with Dennis Allen, and, all right, basically they asked him the question, how do you stop Peyton Manning? And basically what he said is you have to know what Peyton Manning's going to think when he sees your defense. So you send a certain defensive look out there, and basically what you have to do is predict how Peyton Manning is going to perceive that and then adjust accordingly. So, and it makes a lot of sense because we all know Peyton Manning's the master at the line. He's constantly audibling, changing plays. Whatever he's got to do, he sees things really quickly, and he sees how you're going to defend him really quickly. So he adjusts to it on the fly, and he's really, really good at it. And he's really good at it in a no-huddle offense too. That's the other thing. So we'll just see. But like I said, I just don't see how you cannot pick the Broncos. I mean,
yeah, everything you're saying I think is why the Ravens were effective, because they had high IQ people on their defense able to make adjustments as Peyton Manning's making adjustments and they're adjusting. You know what I mean? And it's like this chess game going back and forth. But the Raiders don't have these people. So Broncos, hey, you get another win.
Yep. Next pick, your pick. Pelton's game that he decided to choose.
Yeah, the Falcons versus Miami. And as I look at my paper, I don't see a winner. So the team that I picked is the Falcons. Woo! I just said it. I don't know. I really wanted to pick Miami, but I don't believe in them yet. They're 2-0, but I don't believe in them yet. I just got to see it. I just got to see it on the field. I know what the Falcons can do. You know what I mean? And I just think that their offense is going to be too much for Miami's defense. And I mean, I don't think it'll be a super high-scoring game, but maybe something like 24-20, something like that. You know, Atlanta gets the win, shows their experience, and shows that they're a playoff team.
All right, so last week you went against Atlanta with the Rams.
I did.
This week you're going with Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I went with Atlanta last week. They were playing at home last week. This week they're playing in Miami. I'm going with Miami. I think Miami shocks the Falcons and gets the upset by 10 points.
Ooh, by 10?
By 10 points.
I don't know. I guess I want to pick Miami. I just can't.
All right.
I just can't.
The last game, my game, Green Bay versus Cincinnati. I'm going with Cincinnati. That's all I'm going to say. I think their defense is strong. They're playing in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to win the game.
All right. What was the score of this Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
I can look it up real quick.
Look it up. Pittsburgh Steelers, their offense and defense is not good at all. And it's not like they lost that game. Like, if you watch the game, you see, oh, yeah, they got dominated. You know what I mean? But when you look at the score, which I'm sure you'll find in a second, they didn't really get dominated in the score. This is why I have to pick Green Bay. Green Bay went on the road to San Francisco and put up points and passed for yards against one of the best defenses in the league. Cincinnati is not close to San Francisco. Green Bay will go to Cincinnati and they will get to 2-1 and they'll start their roll as they start to take that North Division. And that's how I see it. Did you ever find the score of that game?
20-10, Cincinnati.
20-10. So Cincinnati manufactured 20 points against a subpar defense.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see after this week.
I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna have to score more than 20 points to win this game.
We'll see after this game, after this week, and we'll see when I'm 13-1, and then we'll see.
No. I'll give you Miami, maybe, but I'm not saying Cincy they got to manufacture points against Green Bay. Like, that's the bottom line. And unless they can do that, then there's gonna be a problem.
All right, here you go. A.J. Green, 2 touchdowns. Giovanni Bernard, 1 touchdown.
I could buy that and have them still lose.
Yeah.
I could give 1 touchdown to all 3 wide receivers for Green Bay and a touchdown to their tight end and say, yeah, that's gonna happen. And it's already has.
Yeah. And
how many yards did James Jones go for? And he's like 4th, 5th option on the offense.
All right. We'll see.
All right, so that wraps up the NFL picks. It's getting a little hot in here.
That's right, I said it. I said it. It had to be said. Somebody got to say it.
My favorite section of the show. Bold predictions. So, first week, bold predictions went good. Last week, bold predictions did not go so well. Man, that Broncos game, it was they killed the Giants as we thought they would, but the Giants just did not hold up to their end of the bargain of getting some offensive scores. So it was, it went bad. But this week I got something cooked up for you. All right. So, all right. According to the Wieselmeyer NFL mathematical theorem, Seattle's better than any other team in the NFL. Okay, cool. So we got that much established. Now, according to the eye test, when you look and you see Jacksonville, they are worse than any team in the NFL, and that's in any stadium, like even in their own. So like. You put these two together, and you shake them up, and you drop them in Seattle, there's going to be pure carnage, okay? So Seattle's defense will score more points than Jacksonville's offense. Boom. Okay, that's what I'm putting out there.
I think Seattle's defense could double the points of Jacksonville. but yeah, I can see that. And yeah, so we'll see. Mine, Oakland, Denver. All right, we all know Denver's gonna win a game. We got that. But I'm gonna say something right here, and yeah, Then I'll get to my bold prediction. Right there. Ryan Claddy is on injured reserve with Liz Frank. As Pelton mentioned to me earlier, Liz Frank has taken another victim.
Yeah, she's claimed another victim.
And it happens to be Claddy, which is a Pro Bowl left tackle. He does protect the blind side. So.
Of one said Peyton Manning, correct?
Exactly. Of one said Peyton Manning. That is very true. And hopefully my camera will come back on any minute now. Come on now. Okay, so you're just going to have to look at Pelton for the rest of this video and hear me talk, I guess.
I'll make facial expressions like you did.
Anyways, all right, so my bold prediction. You're going to want to look at Pelton anyways when he hears this. So.
Yeah, because you know what? Here I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. He tried to get me to reveal my bold prediction. I said no. He tried to show me his bold prediction. I said no. I want genuine surprise on my face when this happens. So let's see it. Let's hear it.
All right. Oakland, after week 3, remains the sack leader in the NFL.
Oh.
They sacked Peyton Manning 5 times.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Terrell Pryor rushes for 2 touchdowns.
Woo.
And they still lose the game by 21 points.
So let me get this straight. You got TP, you got TP 2 TD, TP 2 TD.
2 rushing touchdowns. 2 rushing touchdowns.
Oh, okay. TP 2 rushing TD. Okay, and then you got 5 sacks for the Raiders defense.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, I like this. You know what I mean? I'm about to step my bold prediction game up. I like this. It's good. All right, well, that completes the show. So we will see you guys out there in Fantasyland. Obviously, I hope that you guys are not waiting till the last second to set your lineups. Get everything ready to go. Pay attention to trades and movements and players going in and out of practice and all these things. Pay attention to these things because it came back to bite some people in the butt last week. So, I am Pelton.
And I am Bill, even though you can't see me.
And we will see you guys next week.
Oh, yes, baby!